Joining us from the Daily Mail, the one and only, the man we call our reporter at large, Wayne Flower. Welcome to TheInformer.
Afternoon, George.
Now, I normally don't put you in harm's way, but over the last few days, the Daily Mail has. It's asked you to go out and to do what? Cover COVID-19 Spike 2.
It's deja vu. We did this, of course, in March when this crisis began. We went out into the hotspots there when people were lining up at Centrelink queues and the likes, and sadly, we're back out there again in these 36 suburbs, the hotspots of Melbourne, and have been out there talking to the people.
What have you discerned? What was the flavour like? Of course, you've touched on it in March. What's it like? Is it the same feeling, or no, is it much stronger or worse? What are you feeling?
Well, people are a lot more angry now. I mean, in March
there was a bit of anxiety.
It was the unknown.
It
was really the unknown. It felt like the apocalypse, and we sort of felt as bit that we got through it, and now these people in these particular suburbs have been locked down sort of individually.
Who are they angry at?
Well, mostly angry at the Premier, Victorian Premier, Daniel Andrews. They feel like they've been picked on.
Picked on or misled?
Well, misled, picked on. Why they've now been segregated because of really the mistakes that have been pointed squarely at him. So, and a lot of these people are going to be put out of business. They've managed to survive the first wave. They were just reopening, and they've been closed down again. It is tragic, really.
What else has your foray into these hotspots discovered or uncovered?
Well, some of these places, of course, who have been locked down are directly across the road from places that are not locked down. So they're effectively their neighbours, a stone's throw away, are open for business, and these people
must be galling.
They're pretty annoyed, and I mean everyone feels for them across the road. You've got guilt that they're open and their friends down the road can't, so that's quite hard.
Is this story going to get stronger and stronger? Are we going to see this sentiment spread right across the city, or do you think it's contained more and more to just the hotspots?
Well, the feeling out there is that pretty soon we're all going to be locked down again. I mean, we're hearing by the minute more and more outbreaks. We've heard today that Melburnians that have gone up to Sydney have now spread it up there, and there's concerns now that it's going to hit nationwide again. So there's a lot of fear out there in the community about what's about to come.
How did they derive? How does the government come down and chosen those particular postcodes? Because there are accusations, there are people out there saying that these were racially motivated decisions that the Premier and the Cabinet have made, and they should either have closed down the city of Melbourne or no one at all. So are you getting any sense of that?
Well, I think they're following the data. I mean, these areas are where the people who've lived have spread the outbreaks are. I mean, you've got one cluster in Roxburgh Park where I think 20 have been linked back to one family. So some of these people were, of course, the security guards at the quarantine hotels
across Melbourne.
Have just been come under massive fire of the blunder that has gone on at those hotels.
Well, you touched on that blunder with the reports that we're hearing and have come out this morning and continuing to resonate all day, is that some of the behaviour was less than professional by those so-called professional security crews.
Well, yeah, there's some wild accusations going on at the moment. I understand they come from very well-placed sources within government about some of the dealings that were going on there. Quite unprofessional, from people going up in lifts together, sharing lighters, and allegations that they may have been
partying. Tell me something. Have you heard anything about the feelings in the community, especially in those hotspots, about the idea of having the military step in and assist where possible?
Well,
have they had a view?
I think most people that I've spoken to would have been happy for the military to come in and sort this out once and for all. I mean, they should have come in originally like they did in Sydney at the quarantine hotels. They didn't have a single outbreak from their hotels there. Here we've had a bunch of security guards in, allegations that some were being paid in cash when they weren't even working. Just a complete another debacle. So
we had a clinical psychologist in the Informer a little earlier in the day who gave us a sense that psychologically it's a real battle, even for a professional. And that's why the military may well have been the ideal fit, because they're structured in their life, they're structured in their behaviour, and they would have been given a job to do and they would have done it.
Well, absolutely right. I mean, there'd be no mucking about with people in the military. And also, you would think that people who are locked in those quarantine hotels would be reluctant to mess around with a soldier more than someone.
What have you made of some of the banter between the various premiers across the country? We saw that lovely skirmish a couple of weeks ago between Steve Marshall of South Australia and, of course, Daniel Andrews in Victoria. When Daniel Andrews was asked about South Australia, why would anyone go there? Now we know why they're going to go, because they need to play football and there's a hub that needs to go there.
Yeah,
is that your understanding as well?
I mean, it started off sort of being a bit comical about it, but
tongue in cheek. But now it's
become quite serious, hasn't it? I mean,
and what have you made of the skirmish between North and South? New South Wales feeling rather superior, Victoria feeling a little wounded. There's been a lot of scuttlebutt both ways.
Well, some would say the Victorians have always felt a little bit wounded by their
northerners.
By their northern.
Go easy. I'm a former northerner, but I've been here 20 years, mate. I get to see both flavours.
Yeah. Look. We might be a little bit sensitive down here in Victoria about that kind of behaviour, but it's hurting a lot at the moment.
No, I can understand that. No, I don't want to make light of a very difficult time in a lot of people's lives. The hotspots, the number of suburbs, 30 plus, right across the city of Melbourne, and it must be a very, very difficult time. Are you going to continue over the next few days doing more of what you've done throughout this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a developing story. I mean, it develops, as they've been saying for quite a while now, by the minute, really. Things are changing. They're changing within the AFL, they're changing within the restrictions. So, yeah, in the immediate future, it'll be all COVID again, unfortunately. So.
All right, just before we let you go, anything else that you have had to endure through the week that you must pass on to the Informer?
Well, it's been a week of COVID, but there are other things happening.
Bubbling and simmering?
Bubbling.
Like what, for example?
Well, there's an interesting case happening up in the Northern Territory at the moment about a young, quite attractive young lady who was working in the mining industry who has allegedly endured some quite horrendous sexual harassment from the boys within this company. In this day and age, you just think, how does this still happen? But some quite atrocious allegations.
Well, it happens because those traditions have been well entrenched, and attitudes take an eternity and some real steel to get them to move on.
Yeah, I know, but
it's remarkable, isn't it?
You would think that we've moved on, but clearly
nature.
some places have not, and that's now within the hands of lawyers.
Wayne Flower, we need to move on. We'll let you get back to the COVID story. But promise next week, back with more for The Informer.
Absolutely. Thanks, George.